Boys, the UFC 319 press conference was today, and I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed in Dricus Plessis, alright? I had DDP making Khamzat cry today. He is on a 2-fight opponent crying spree. He made Sean Strickland cry, and he made Israel Adesanya cry. DDP's trash talk today was literally garbage, alright? He spent the whole time talking, arguing with the crowd over how loud their boos were. He said, oh look, the first boo you guys gave me, which, to be fair, they did boo DDP for like 30 straight seconds as soon as he touched the microphone. But after that, their boos went down, which is like obviously, you know what I mean? They're so hyped in the beginning and they want to hear you talk. But he just kept repeating himself saying, look, you guys were louder in the beginning. You guys are just going to keep dwindling. I've seen this before. He didn't even engage with Khamzat. And look, he did say the whole week, I'm not going to engage with Khamzat as long as he's nice to me. And I don't understand that because as a fighter who gets a percentage back in the pay-per-view buys, okay, you are literally a partner in this deal with the UFC. You get a cut from how many people purchase the pay-per-view. If you argue and you have a moment on that press conference stage, right, a nice little back and forth, you make things a little bit heated, and your pay-per-view sales instantly drive up. Look, there's no metrics for me to say that because the UFC never releases their pay-per-view statistics, right? But you could just tell off of the trending tweets. If there is obviously a heated moment in a press conference and it goes viral, way more people are going to see it. Way more people are going to buy the content. So I just don't understand why people who are like gifted on the mic refrain from speaking. You are Khamzat barely speaks English, okay? DDP was gifted a defenseless target, essentially. The dude cannot defend himself verbally. Okay, in English, he has to use a translator. So DDP could have just sat there and gave the dude a lashing verbally, and Khamzat wouldn't have been able to do anything besides shout in broken English. All right, that would have made the pay-per-view sales go up if you made Khamzat have a little hothead moment and lose his temper on stage and throw a water bottle or something. You know what I'm saying? Just make something go viral. So I was a little bit disappointed that DDP didn't do that at all. He just like refrained himself, but it is what it is. You know, I can't play my player for every single UFC fighter. You know what I mean? And honestly, I'm looking at the main card on stage. And if you guys didn't notice, they added a new fight. They added Eric Noland versus the dude that was on the Contender Series 4 days ago. Eric Noland is a plus 550 underdog. All right, he's a New Jersey native. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not buying into the hype of the dude from the Contender Series who's Khamzat's training partner. All right? Absolutely not. Eric Noland is plus 550. He's on a 4-fight winning streak. 3 fights back-to-back-to-back, ended in KO, TKO. I'm going to take him. I know people have recency bias. They just saw Khamzat's training partner just dismantle a dude live on the Contender Series 4 days ago. But Eric Noland is also taking a fight on short notice. This is a weight class up for Eric Noland, and he's a New Jersey native, boys. I'm not going against him. Absolutely not. Also, while I'm watching the press conference, it kind of bothered me that, like, obviously, none of the real fighters are getting asked real questions. They're just being like, oh, hey, Geoff, Neal, you think you're going to knock out Carlos Prates. Is that right? Yeah, I think I'm going to knock out Carlos Prates. Hey, Carlos Prates, Geoff Neal just said he's going to knock you out. What do you think? He's not going to knock me out. I'm going to knock him out. That's like literally essentially all of the press conference questions, every single press conference. But I'm looking at Jared Cannonier, and I'm looking at Michael Venom Page. And I know the whole week I was saying to you guys, look, Michael Venom Page is a different dude. You cannot train for Michael Venom Page. You cannot train for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, these creative strikers like Israel Adesanya. Not really. More like just MVP and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, all right? You cannot train for people like that. But I'm looking at MVP. I'm looking at MVP's frame, right? And I'm looking at him. I'm looking at his legs. Dude has really tiny legs like John Jones. Really skinny, really small legs. Big kneecaps, by the way. Just little, small, tiny ant legs. And I'm looking at Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier obviously doesn't have the biggest legs we've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? But Jared Cannonier is massive for 185 pounds. MVP has said multiple times that he doesn't feel comfortable fighting at middleweight. And I think I'm going to have to switch my pick here, okay? Jared Cannonier can realistically stay from the outside and smash MVP with leg strikes, right? On paper. But that's the problem with MVP. Dude he's not on paper, okay? He's moving around in the octagon. He's not staying right in front of you, okay? He's slipping off to the side. He's not staying on the line. He's not staying on the center line. I think I'm going to have to switch my pick and go with Jared Cannonier, boys. Something is telling me the Killer Gorilla has it in him. He might be fighting for a UFC contract. Let's keep it real. Dude is 1-2 in his last 3, and that Gregory Rodriguez fight almost slipped away from him. He was losing that fight. Pretty sure he lost the first 2 rounds viciously, all right? And then he got up and made the fight his, all right? So Jared Cannonier might be walking into this with a fire under his ass, and you also have to realize MVP is not a true 185er, so you're getting a little disrespected here, Jared, by getting thrown MVP, all right? So I think Jared might go out there and actually perform, all right? And in other news, they canceled Bobby Green's fight on UFC 319, and I have to say, what an early Christmas gift to Bobby Green. Dude is coming off of one of the most vicious knockouts I've ever seen in life ever, okay? He got knocked out by Marcio Ruffy. He was still laying on the canvas, getting scraped up while Marcio Ruffy was doing his post-fight interview, all right? I don't know if that's accurate. That's just how my brain remembers it. It was a disgusting knockout, okay? Spinning heel kick to the side of the temple, all right? It wasn't pretty to see. So him being on this fight card, I thought was a little scary, and I feel like they were doing my boy a little bit dirty, but apparently he had an injury and he had to pull out. But dude was only a plus 170 underdog, and Diego Ferreira was minus 200. That's a little bit outrageous for a dude who just literally got separated from his soul inside of the octagon. All right, that's my gripe right there. And they are still disrespecting Bryan Battle and Nursulton Ruziboev. But to be fair, Nursulton Ruziboev low-key deserves to be down here. He did lose to Joaquin Buckley. But Bryan Battle does not deserve to be down here in the early prelims. All right, bring Bryan Battle up here. Aaron Pico, by the way, was sitting there at the press conference, and he heard all the UFC fans, and he saw the UFC fans booing him. And honestly, he looked shell-shocked. When he realized that all the fans were booing him and pointing at him and giving him the middle finger and things like that, he looked like, wow, I didn't expect this. Like, I didn't think that I was going to walk into this. You know, he wasn't as, like, loud-spoken. He became very soft-spoken. And I peeped that. And another thing I peeped is DDP and Khamzat are the same damn height. All right? I thought Khamzat was a little bit taller than him. Not massively taller. Not 7-foot giant. But these dudes are literally toe-to-toe, square-to-square in height. All right? I haven't been so excited for a fight in ages. In literally ages, boys. I just wish DDP hyped this up more. Okay? You can't say I wish Khamzat hyped it up more because Khamzat can't even fucking speak English. Alright? The dude is sitting there whispering into the mic and the crowd can't even hear what he says. But they are so dick riding that they just want to cheer. Alright? I promise you. I saw a tweet on Twitter while I was watching the press conference, and it made me laugh. Every single person in that room who was cheering for Khamzat Chimaev does not know one unranked fighter. I was laughing. They were there for TikTok edits. They were there from literally TikTok edits. Okay, this weekend. Well, not this weekend. The past 2-3 days, Khamzat and DDP have obviously been going through like the media cycle, and Khamzat got asked by DC. He was like, something your appearance, and Khamzat goes, no, the girls love the T word. You know, terror, space. Ists, you know, I just don't want to get fucking flagged, okay? You know what I'm saying? And that was just like, word, you know what I mean? I guess, for sure, Khamzat, that most definitely, the women love being terrorized, you know what I'm saying? I guess. DDP, please save us. DDP, please save us. Please save the fucking middleweight division. I don't want this guy to clog up the division. The dude can barely speak. He's whispering into mics. I can't even imagine somebody trying to sell a fight against Khamzat Chimaev where Khamzat Chimaev is literally the champion and you have to fight to get a fight against Khamzat. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know how Carlo Brahalio and you know how all these dudes in a middleweight division are fighting for the next #1 contendership because everybody wants to fight DDP in the winter. How are you going to sit here and fight in 2026, like whenever we go to Abu Dhabi or something? I'm still a little bit shocked that the commission let Khamzat Chimaev fight in Chicago. Previous to this fight in Chicago, this main event, we have never seen Khamzat in America ever. And another weird thing, right, is he was wearing a sweater during that press conference. Nobody else was wearing a sweater. Everybody else was in short sleeve shirts, I mean, Aaron Pico wore a suit, but that's because, like, this is his job interview. You know, he has to look spiffy. He wore a sweater during his actual, like, media day interviews, his solo day interviews, too. So I'm wondering if he knows what's up. He's trying to protect his immune system. He needs to make it to this fight. Or maybe the immune system's already compromised. Maybe the immune system's already compromised, and he's trying to peel it back. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to get himself back to business. But UFC 319, boys, this is a fight card made by the MMA gods, if I'm going to be honest with you. This card is going to feed absolute families. Absolute families. Don't forget, I'm switching my pick from MVP to Jared Cannonier. And we're picking up Eric Nolan for plus 550. All right, boys, we're going to get in there. We're going to see DDP keep the belt, third title defense, keep the bad dude away. You know what I'm saying? The guy who wants to hold up 3 different weight classes in the UFC. And anyways, boys, I'll catch you guys later. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.